Yeah, good morning. My name's Matt Gresty from DLF Seeds. This morning I'm with Andy Laing, Golf Course Manager from Gaudet Luce Golf Club, and we're here today to look at a fantastic array of flowers and talk to Andy of how he's achieved the fantastic results that we can see. Andy, can you talk us through the golf club, the history, and also obviously what you've done over the years with the flower mixtures?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're a relatively young golf club. So opened in '95, so we're approaching 30 years now. We played around with some perennial wildflower mixes back in 2011. We found them to be quite hard to get established and quite high maintenance. We didn't really have the time or the equipment needed to get them going properly. So we moved on to annual flower mixes back in 2012, just to try and break up some of the open areas that we've got around the golf course. We tried quite successfully, luckily, because we over about 12 or 15 different areas across the course, we planted in year one up to a hectare's worth of wildflowers. So we went all out with it, right from the off, to be honest. And we had, fantastic results right from day one. So one thing that we've learned throughout the process is that preparation is key to success with any of these annual mixes. So we started off early in the spring with a glyphosate spray just to kill off any of the weed and vegetation that might be sat there from over winter. And then we cultivated the area up and followed that again about 2 weeks later with another spray of glyphosate, just to kill off any of the the weed seeds that may have germinated. Getting a really nice, clean seed bed is really key to any success. Generally, sort of early to mid-April for seeding. So we apply the seed between 2 to 4 grams a square metre, and it's the best way of doing that we found is to mix the seed with kiln-dried sand, and we just apply it with a standard sort of rotary fertiliser spreader. The kiln-dried sand just dilutes it, so you've got an easier stab at getting the relatively small quantity of seed spread out over such a big area. Following seeding, we then follow that up with a very light chain harrow, just to make sure that the seeds worked into the surface quite nicely. You see, we're on a slightly bigger scale, so if you were doing a smaller area, you could hand rake it over. And again, we follow that up with a tractor-mounted flat roll, just to push the seed into the soil. But again, that could be done, by foot if need be.
So, kind of following that, thinking about this year's weather, we went into quite a dry, almost drought-like conditions in June, which I'm sure you didn't get much in the way of germination. But then the weather's since then has changed to be a bit more, sun, rain, and then a lot of rain through August. So I guess in a sense, as much as initially you might have thought, well, kind of what's happening, but I guess with your experience you knew that given the conditions it would come, and it maybe just means your flowering's been a bit later.
It's definitely been later this year after the spring that we had. We were later sowing this year as well because April and May were so wet, so it really had an impact on how quickly we could get the ground prep done. Rotating boggy wet clay isn't the best, so we were a bit late in getting going this year. But then June went particularly dry, so not long after the seed was in the ground. So we did put a bit of irrigation on them just while the seedlings were young, just to make sure we didn't lose any with the sort of dry month that we had. And then obviously this year we haven't had to worry too much about irrigation through the rest of the summer because it's been fairly wet. Up until now in September. So
when you look at the mixture, which mix did you choose in the end?
So this is Chameleon.
So
there's 27 different varieties in the mix, which is lovely because you get quite a sort of successional flowering season. So it doesn't look the same now as it did when it first came into flower a couple of months ago. So the mixes do kind of change right the way through the year. And this will go on to flower right on through till sort of November with the first sort of frosts. We've even seen flowering into December in previous years,
Yeah.
depending on the winter.
And then when it finally does finish its flowering, what's your process?
So we just tend to leave it over winter then.
Yeah.
We just leave the stems standing.
Yeah.
Seems to look quite effective. The birds come and feed on all of the seeds.
And in terms of the environmental aspect and the benefits, obviously you can see today it's full of bees, and I know you've got some of your own beehives out on the course somewhere.
Environmental impact has been huge, and the amount of bees and insects and what you see out there has been phenomenal, really.
Yeah.
And feedback again from customers and visitors has been exceptional. They love to see it. And now, after so many years, we're sort of, we're now 13 or 14 years in. Not only do they love to see it, but they kind of expect to see it now. So we're kind of committed to the process, I guess. But and that's where I found the annual mixes to be better than the perennials for us and for our situation. Because at least by starting afresh every year, you're almost guaranteed results.